place for me to stand up so I can shoot you. Then I'll turn around and boot you, throw you off a curve fast, or grab a shirt and some dirt, mix it up and call you fur. Watch that booty twerk, grab my dick and insert it, fly away like a bird. Drink some water, it's good for you. Maybe it will prevent you from catching the flu. Look at me now while I'm flexing all this ice. It's frozen in a bottle, you don't wanna take a bite. Looking at her booty, seeing that she was so thick. So I yell, yo, can I get a fucking lick? I'm drinking that Poland Spring, you see. Stop wearing that fake ass AP on your wrist. My brother be on a motorcycle way. I be screaming out the shade when she kicks me in my dicky. I'll get licky on her titty in the middle of the city. We be beating up a bitty and be throwing up the ticky.
For the students, young,
What's up, Melissa? Welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming by. It's been a while just saying hi. Oh, yo, what's up, Melissa? Thank you for coming by. It has been a while. It has been a long time, actually. I hope you're doing all right. Hope everything's good for you. It's good to see you again. If you ever want to come back, like I said, I stream almost every day. Next 2 days I won't be streaming though, but starting on Sunday I will be streaming again, or Saturday night. I'm not too sure, but it's good to see you. Hopefully I'll see you again in the future, and I'll see you again soon, Melissa. Whenever, if you do leave.
We have emphasized how very important it is to be a part of an informed, involved citizenry. Ayana offered this message from students here at the U to students listening from around the world. I want students worldwide to know that partaking in election processes is indispensable, as we are all citizens of humankind, and our chief role as such is to tailor the world to be more ethical than the one we grew up in order to avoid complicity in governmental injustice. It is our
what's up, Christian? How are you today?
To vote for just outcomes within our own respective structures. It is our responsibility to be commonly decent. From all of us at the University of Utah, our very best wishes to Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris this evening, and my deepest appreciation to all who helped plan and prepare for tonight, from our campus, the Utah Debate Commission, and the Commission on Presidential Debates. Thank you all, and again, warmest welcome to the University of Utah.
Is lit. Feel this racing. Hold on, I'm opening chat right now. Hey, yo, why are we watching this? Because it is for the future of our country. We're gonna see which sides are which, and see who's the better candidate for the job. Presidential debate live right now on my channel. We're gonna be reacting to what is going down tonight. Vice President fucking Mike Pence versus Senator Kamala Harris. Come and join in. Give me your thoughts. Give me your opinions, and tell me what might go down. I'll see you guys there. YouTube.
The first print journalist to be the solo moderator of one of the general election debates, Washington Bureau Chief of USA Today, Susan Page. Go get him, honey.
Hey, welcome. And congratulations, you have scored the most exclusive tickets in the United States. Hamilton has nothing on the Commission on Presidential Debates when it comes to exclusive tickets.
Oh, yeah?
I want to offer a special welcome to Vice President Pence's family, I think is there, and to Senator Kamala Harris's family on this side, and most especially to my bosses, who are seated right up there, and I'm very glad that they came and joined us. My boss is from USA Today and from Gannett. We're glad that you're here, but this debate is not about you, and it's not about me. It's about the millions of Americans who are going to be watching it. And that's why I'm going to ask you for your help. I'm going to ask you for your silence. I'm going to ask you during the debate not to cheer or to boo or to hiss or to laugh, because that is distracting for the people we are really staging this debate to reach. There will be 2 times when you can applaud. That will be when I announce the 2 candidates on the stage. They'll come on the stage simultaneously. That'll be a time to applaud. And then applaud again.
Christian, are you the only one here? No.
If you could keep,
right when I read that, no. Natasha is here, though. Hello, Natasha, welcome. Hello. How was your day?
Send me a little good karma. That would also be appreciated, but quietly. I'm going now to sit down and get settled and turn my back to you, but not in a rude way. And I'll see you on the other side. Thanks again for being here.
No one would live, no. All right, and we wait for this. Oh, she's the moderator. Oh, it's lit. What's up? Good catching up on your Yagamayato. What is that? Is it a show? And I can tell you're on your school computer because you don't have the membership going on. All right. Okay, so I guess we're gonna wait, right? Oh, bro, do they have snipers on the rooftop, bro? Oh my gosh. Damn, bro, they got snipers on the rooftop, dog. It's explicit. Hey, yo. Alright, sounds good, Natasha. Yo, debate live right now on YouTube. I'm reacting to it. We're gonna see what goes down between Mike Pence and Kamala Harris. Vice presidential debate. Come hang out. Come tell me your opinions. Let's see what goes down tonight. The Commission on the Presidential Debates. VP Mike Pence versus Senator Kamala Harris. Let's get it. Alright, we good. It's just anime characters saying hard things to use time. Oh, okay. Okay. You love anime, so it's heaven for you. Ah, okay. Why don't you watch that Naruto? Like... Yo, so, yeah. It does this thing, right? Naruto, he does like... Boom! Shoot you with the wind. I don't know what we're waiting on. This is like very boring. I don't know what's going on right now. Oh, and they get to sit down? Yo. Biden and Trump were not able to sit down. But Pence and Harris are able to sit down on chairs, bro. Yo, okay. Okay. Whatever. I'm doing hand signs from Dodo. Yeah, I was. Isn't that what he does? He goes like, boom, 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 and he smacks you up. He goes, because it's lit. Yo, it's 9:01. What's going on, bro? What are we waiting on? What? He's doing hang sign justice. Hold up. Alright, sounds good, Natasha. Excuse me. Was good, Johnny? Hello, welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for coming by. Hello, hello, hello. Hey. You playing GTA Online right now? Yo, did you get the new car? Did you do your wheel spin? Did you do it all? Gotta make sure you do it all. Oh, just so you guys know, I will not be streaming tomorrow night or Friday night, unfortunately. Well, I mean, at least not gaming. I might do a stream on TikTok or maybe YouTube. I don't know. We'll see. But I am going to be you know, not, because I'm going to be at my dad's house, and so that means I will not have my equipment to stream. I'm going to bring my Xbox, but I won't have my equipment to stream. So I'll just upload like TikToks and stuff, basically like that. But I will not be able to stream the next 2 days. I might come back home on Saturday. Saturday night. If not Saturday night, then I will 100% be home Sunday, because I have a siege game with my team Sunday against some team. I don't know what team it is, but some team. Excuse your bad spelling. It's all good, Natasha. We have fun playing Mafia Remake. Sounds good, Christian. Play that Mafia Remake. Have fun. Do well. Beat the campaign. Do all the side missions. Get all the achievements. And you'll get the most out of it. But you're a young lad, so don't get those magazines, dog. Not allowed to get those What is that? Oh, it's a teleprompter for this lady. Okay, we're finally starting.
From the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, welcome to the first and only Vice Presidential Debate of 2020, sponsored by the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm Susan Page of USA Today. It is my honor to moderate this debate, an important part of our democracy. In Kingsbury Hall tonight, we have a small and socially distant audience.
Socially distant
extra
audience.
Precautions during this pandemic.
Those guys are sitting right next to each other.
Everyone in the
there was like 3 people in the middle, but okay.
Face mask, and the candidates will be seated 12 feet apart. The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice, at the end of the debate and now when I introduce the candidates. Please welcome California Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence.
No fucking wonder, bro. She's Senator of California. Come on, dog. Damn, that boy a husky, bro. He came out like this, really.
Thank you.
They're like, do we sit down? Like.
Senator Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
We're meeting as President Trump and the First Lady continue to undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for the recovery of everyone afflicted by the coronavirus. The two campaigns and the Commission on Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules.
Oh, actually, no,
for
fuck
tonight.
it. She's talking. It's not
I'm
even
here to enforce them on behalf of
that's
the
fine
millions
for you,
of
because the rest of the week you're going to be editing videos. Sounds good,
One
Natasha.
note, no one in
you're not a
either
little
campaign
kid, okay?
or at the commission
Well, I mean, you're a young
or
kid.
anywhere else
I'm not saying
has
you're
been
like
told in advance
4,
what topics I'll raise
but you're like
or what
11
questions I'll
or
ask.
12.
This 90-minute debate will be divided into 9
magazines.
segments of about 10 minutes each.
Just
I'll
letting you
begin a
know you
segment
haven't been
by
on your
posing a
tablet.
question
Well, what's up,
to
Amy?
each of you.
It's good to see
Sometimes
you
the same
again.
question, sometimes
After a
different
while, how are you
question on
doing?
the same topic.
It's been some time. It's
You
been
will
some
then have
time.
2 minutes to
But
answer
it's all good.
without
Welcome.
interruption by me
And
or
yeah,
the
how
other
are you?
candidate.
Did you pick
Then
the
we'll
book
take
up
6
in
minutes
Mafia
or so
games?
to
Not
discuss
that I
this.
remember. I did pick up a
At
bunch of
that point,
magazines and
although there
propaganda
will
posters
always
from
be
what I
more to
remember.
say, we'll move on
But I
to the
don't
next topic.
remember any books.
We want a debate that is lively, but Americans also deserve a discussion that is civil.
Water.
These are tumultuous times, but we can and will have a respectful exchange about the big issues facing our nation. Let's begin with the ongoing
He went to go like
pandemic
this to
that
her,
has
and she
cost
was just
our
writing. He
country
was like,
so much. Senator Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set new records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the Vice President and the President were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne.
said it twice.
And they knew what was happening, and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare?
Why is she using the
They
same
knew
tactic
and
Biden
they
did?
covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on, and we need to save our country. And Joe Biden is the best leader to do that, and frankly, this administration has forfeited their right to re-election based on this.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, more than 210,000 Americans have died
Second
of
question,
COVID-19
okay.
since
Let's see
February.
what he has to say now.
The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is higher than that of almost every other wealthy nation on earth. For instance, our death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force. Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And I want to thank the Commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage with you. And our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know.
He's using the tactic
very
too.
first
What the fuck?
day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before, there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China. President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done, and that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now,
January
Senator
31st.
Joe Biden opposed that decision.
Or
He
February
said it
2nd,
was
actually.
xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resource and support they needed. And we began, really, before the month of February was out, to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe we'll have literally tens of millions of doses of a vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. I mean, quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which Joe Biden knows a little bit about. And I think the American people know that this is a president who has put the health of America first, and the American people, I believe with my heart, can be proud of the sacrifices they have made. It's saved countless American lives.
Senator Harris, would you like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss.
He's not even fucking listening, bro.
The vice president is the head of the task force. And
he just circled like 2 or 3 things. I don't know what he wrote, but that was some big ass circles.
We learned that they knew about it, and then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Yeah.
Well, let's get
but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add, but Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm
speaking.
Yeah, you can have 15 more seconds, and then we'll give the vice president a chance to respond.
So I want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm were you when your children couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to respond.
You know, there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made. The reality, if I may finish, Senator, the reality is Dr. Fauci said everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence.
I'll let him speak real quick, and I'll read chats.
But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. Now, that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also said to us if we did everything right, Susan, we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice President
Now, one
Pence.
life lost is so many, Susan.
It's funny when they both talk and she's like, all right, yo, I need to talk. And they're like, and this just happened.
Their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first responders.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were in your
Okay,
administration.
so let me read
officials.
these chats. Just
No
let me
social
know.
distancing.
Oh, you're 17? Oh,
and now
Christian,
a
I didn't know
cluster
that.
of coronavirus
My bad.
cases among those who were there.
Magazines are your life.
How
Oh, wow,
can you
okay,
expect
Natasha.
Americans to
Why are you
follow
watching the
the
news again? I'm watching the news because
administration's
this
safety guidelines to
is
protect themselves
part
from
of
COVID?
the election
When you at the White
presidency.
House have
See
not been doing so.
who should be
Well, the
in
American
charge of the
people
country for the next
have
4 years.
demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing
I'll
to
read some
put
more
their
after they're both
families
done
and their
talking.
neighbors and people they don't even know first.
Whenever the moderator talks,
President Trump
I
and I
don't
have
care.
great
I just want to hear what
confidence
the
in the
two candidates have
American
to say.
people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Thank you, Vice President.
At that, if I may say, that Rose Garden event, there's been a great deal of speculation about it. My wife Karen and I were there and honored to be there. Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were tested for coronavirus, and it was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly and routinely advise. The difference here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of health care,
Thank you,
the Green New Deal, all government control.
Bro, she said thank you like a whole 40 seconds ago. This guy's still talking.
Respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect the American people when you have the courage to be a leader speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker, known you didn't have enough money
using it more often,
and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling
Trump
to
not
speak
one time
the
looked
truth
at the
to
camera and talked, "My American people."
So let's talk about
He's talking straight
about the American
to
people. The American people have
his,
sacrificed far too much
opponent,
because of the
because that's what the debate is. Debate is between
it is asking too much of the people.
between Trump and Biden, and this one's between Harris and Pence. So I don't know why he's talking to the camera. Pence either. I don't know why they're talking to the camera because they're debating each other.
I'm sorry.
Not
Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
It's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say
they both are
that
using
most
the
of the
tactic.
people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine.
Why are you watching it? Yeah, I said that. It's important. I mean, it's
If the Trump
exactly.
administration
It's
approves
just
a vaccine
whoever's going to be running this
before or
country for the
after
next
election,
few years.
should
OG likes
Americans
news. I
take
like
and would you take
news when it's important.
If the public
he
health
likes the news, so you
professionals,
like
if
the news?
Dr. Fauci, if the doctors
I like political
tell us
history,
that
and
we
that's
should
why
take it, I'll
I'm
be the first
watching
in
this.
line to take it.
What's
Absolutely. But if
political
Donald Trump
history
tells us
about
that we
this,
should take it, I'm
Natasha?
not taking it.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions.
Maybe
from
that's why
this
he listens so
pandemic.
well.
In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States has ever had. Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization in recent days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to
oh, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that.
presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on to the issue
Well, thank you, but I would like to go back because the reality
I
is
thought
that
like
we're
history
going
would
to
be
have a
like,
vaccine,
learning about
Senator,
things that
record
happened in the
time,
past,
in
not
unheard of time, in
current.
less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase
Current
3
events.
clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives. And your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is it's just unacceptable. And let me also say, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu, 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we still learned from it. And I think the American people, I'm going to say again, can be proud of what we have done. And Senator, please stop undermining confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden
She's gorgeous
about
eyes,
safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Technically.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call, asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother, who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know would make her proud, and she must be looking down on this. Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with values that are about hard work, about the value and the dignity of public service, and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all
Don't look at me,
people.
look at him,
Joe
or look
asked
at
me
her.
to serve with him because
You're talking to two people.
I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco, where I created models of innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected
My headset disconnected, that's why she froze for a second.
Woman of color and black woman to
Sounds
be
good, Natasha. I'll
elected
see you
Attorney
back.
General of the state of California, where I ran the second largest Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department of Justice. And there I took on everything from transnational criminal organizations to the big banks that were taking advantage of homeowners, to for-profit colleges that were taking advantage of veterans. And then, of course, now I serve in the United States Senate as only the second black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee, where I've been in regular receipt of classified information about threats to our nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones. And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share a purpose which is about lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released the sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say, on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being
I'll be back.
of their president, and we'll continue to do that. But I'm just extremely
I'll
grateful.
leave the debate on, but I'll be
was
right back.
More than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year And the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been clear.
I want to give Senator Harris a chance to respond to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and especially about presidents, especially when they're facing some kind of challenge?
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know, because of great investigative journalism, that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I first heard about it, I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or
Stop looking at me, bitch.
So,
look at him.
Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency.
You're not debating me.
Because
I'm
it
not
has
talking
to
to
be
you.
across the board.
Talk to him,
Joe
bro.
has been incredibly transparent
I just
over
got back. She's already talking to me,
many
bro.
years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright, but Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond, Vice President.
Yes.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
But the American people have a president who's a businessman, he's a job creator, who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice
And
President.
turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation,
Thank you,
unleashing
Vice
American
President
energy,
Pence.
fighting for free and fair trade, and all of that's
Thank you,
on the
Vice
line
President
if
Pence.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a good
White House.
segue into our third
great
topic,
segue.
which is about the economy. This has been another aspect of life for Americans that's been so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been replaced. Those hardest hit include Latinos, Blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to
Latinos,
boost the
Blacks,
economy, and
and
would
women.
pay for that new spending by raising
I don't
$4
understand.
trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals.
So just women
and
in general,
corporations.
then you just want to point out
Some
two different
economists warn
races?
that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create
Okay.
jobs. Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted. Thank you.
On the
Fuck.
issue of the economy, I
Can't
think
fucking
there
breathe
couldn't
right
be a
now.
more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family.
Okay.
On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for. On day one, Joe Biden
Can you tell me
will
that bill?
repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy.
We gotta use
Joe
the right
is going to
locations.
invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science, and invested in research and development.
We still believe
so
in
that
science.
we were an innovation leader.
That's why
on
we
the
have
globe.
vaccines coming out
Joe
soon,
Biden
bro.
will use that money to invest in education. So for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than $125,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across the board, we'll make sure that if you have student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is it's about investing in the people of our country
understand
as opposed to passing a
their
tax
own
bill,
bill.
which had the benefit of letting American corporations go offshore to do their business.
Thank you,
Go to
Senator
any
Harris.
public
Vice
university.
President Pence, your administration has been predicting a rapid and robust
University is 4
recovery.
years.
But the latest economic report
Public
suggests
university
that's not
could be like
happening.
$36,000
Should
for
Americans
free,
be braced
which means
for
that you'll
an
probably get
economic
taxed
comeback that is going to take not
like
months,
7%
but a year
more.
or more? You have 2 minutes to answer.
because then that means you're paying for everybody's college.
When President Trump and I took
Technically.
office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. Because when Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of 4 had $2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hardworking Americans, the average household income for a family of 4 increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on
What?
day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think, Susan. I mean, right after a time where we're going
She
through
didn't
a
say that,
pandemic
but-
that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, saved 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that President Trump put into effect to fight for American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot.
I'm not Susan,
With
bro.
4
Please
more
don't look
years
at
of
me.
growth
Thank you.
and
You're not
opportunity,
debating
4
with
more
me.
years of President Donald Trump. 2021
Thank
is
you,
going
Vice
to be the
President
biggest
Pence.
economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President Pence. Senator Harris.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's going to
year.
repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait,
I'm speaking.
it'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
Is he
tax
only
bill-
cutting? Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then
Please.
have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
That's how I feel like
Joe
that's how
Biden
all
will not raise
Democratic women
taxes
talk.
on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back. And now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression.
Don't look at me.
On the one hand, you have Joe Biden,
You're not debating
who
with me,
was
bro.
responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it also did
And took
is it
away
saved
American
those
jobs along
families
with
who
it.
otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of,
Thank you, Senator
trying to
Harris.
get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions. And this is very important, Susan.
Yes,
And
He
it's
has a
we
bill
need
for
to give
pre-existing
Vice
conditions.
President.
I'd just like to, he interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please. If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a
Why are
pre-existing
you talking?
condition,
Thank
they're
you, Senator
coming
Harris.
for you. If you are under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, they're coming for you.
Senator Harris, thank you.
You're
Let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care because Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well. And President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American. But look,
Okay.
Senator Harris, you're entitled to
I'm
your
still
own
waiting on
opinion,
that.
but you're not
I'm still
entitled
waiting to
your
hear
own
about
facts.
that bill.
You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking. Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again, you've provided the perfect segue to a new topic, which is climate change. And Vice President Pence, I'd like to pose the first question to you. This year, we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the South. Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen record-setting wildfires in the West. Do you believe, as the scientific community has concluded, that man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more
Still here.
damaging?
Sounds good,
You
Jen.
have 2 minutes.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Susan. Well, first, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. And our water is among the cleanest in the world. And just a little while ago, the President signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years. So President Trump has made a commitment to conservation and to the environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. But the issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it? President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal, which would crush American energy, would increase the energy costs of American families in their homes, and literally would crush American jobs. And President Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation. And we've done it through natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to be front and center, and even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today
They just,
than there were
neither of
100
them,
years
him or
ago.
Kamala, don't
Thank you.
care
But
when she
many of
says
the
thank you,
climate
your time's
alarms
up.
use
They
just go.
hurricanes and wildfires to
He
try
just
and
continues
sell
talking.
bills
When she
to
wants to
the
explain something,
Green
she
New
just
Deal. And
hold on
President
one
Trump and I are
second,
gonna always
and then
put
just
American
continues
jobs and
explaining.
American workers first.
Senator Harris, as the Vice President mentioned,
Just
you
wait.
co-sponsored the Green New
Once the 2
Deal in
minutes are over,
Congress.
she's gonna be like, just give
But
me 1
Vice President
second.
Biden said in last
And then
week's debate
she'll
that he
continue.
does not support the Green New Deal.
He just keeps talking.
But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign
Moderator's like, thank you,
website,
thank you,
it
thank you.
describes the
He's just
Green
like,
New Deal
and then we're going to,
as a
thank you,
crucial
we're going
framework.
to do this,
What
we're
exactly
going to do this,
would be the
and this is
stance
going to
of a
happen, and
Biden-Harris
that's, thank you, thank you.
administration
And
toward
also,
the Green
we're
New
going to do
Deal?
this,
You have
thank you,
2
thank you,
minutes
and this,
uninterrupted.
and we're also going to think
Sure.
about
So
the American
first
people.
of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that
Let's see
Joe
what she
Biden
says.
will not ban fracking.
Why do
That
you
is
keep looking
a
at me?
fact. That is a fact. I will repeat that Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about growing jobs, which is why he will not increase taxes for anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year.
I
Joe
heard about
Biden's
that.
economic plan, Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm, has said will create 7 million more jobs than Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see, Joe understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa, whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served, when I first got to the Senate, on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website? We have seen a pattern
He's
with
like,
this administration, which is they
didn't
don't
do
believe
shit,
in
bro.
science.
Yo, Sam,
And
what's
Joe's
good?
plan
Welcome to
is
the stream.
about
Hope you
saying
enjoy
we're
it. Thanks for
gonna deal
coming
with it, but
by.
we're
How are
also
you
gonna
doing
create
today?
jobs. Donald
What's
Trump, when asked about the
good?
wildfires in California, and the question was, the science is telling us this. You know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know. So let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat
Sounds good,
to
Sam.
us as human beings.
Play it up, yo.
Joe
Play it
is
up.
about saying we're going to
Man, I'm
invest
doing
that
just
in
great,
renewable
man. Thanks for
energy.
asking.
It's going to be about the creation
I
of
just want
millions
to see
of
what
jobs. We will
Pence
achieve
and Harris have to
net
say tonight.
zero emissions by 2050.
But their debate, but it doesn't look like they're debating each other. It looks like they're debating with the American people because they keep looking at us while they talk. I mean, she's doing it more often than Pence is, but they're both
We will
doing
also
it.
re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said
That was the first time in the
climate
past 2
change
minutes
is
she
an
looked at him.
existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris
But yo, enjoy that Mama
is
Wolfer, Sam.
denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last
See,
week
he's staring at
that
the
on
camera.
day one he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000
at least he looked at
in
her
tax
while
relief
he's
to the average
saying
family
something.
of four across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people
He's talking
look
to
at
the
the
camera.
record. You yourself said
Talking to
repeatedly
Kamala,
that you would ban
and then talking
fracking.
to
You were
the
the
moderator.
first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate
AOC
Accord.
kind of bad though.
Look, the
gonna
American
lie.
people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us
Thank
to
you, Vice
retrofit
President Pence.
4 million
Thank you, Vice
American
President
business
Pence.
buildings.
See, he just
It
keeps
makes no
talking.
sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
put
President
America
Pence.
first. He's going to put jobs first.
Wait, why does
and
he
he's
have
gonna
only
take
one glass of
care
water?
our
She has
environment
2.
and follow the science.
Thank you,
But,
Vice President
on the
Pence.
issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to, as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China. You lost that trade war. You lost it. What ended up
We don't want
happening
wars.
is because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the American people know what I'm talking about. You know, I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old, who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me?
Wait, what?
We're looking at people who are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe.
Do you remember the recession
and
of 2008,
failure
bro?
of leadership
Like
of
2009?
this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you just 15 seconds to respond, because then I want to move on to
Well, I'd love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China over the last several decades. And again,
Cheerleader.
Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, and President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000 manufacturing jobs created. And that's exactly the kind of growth we're going to continue to see as we bring our nation through this pandemic. But a Green New Deal, your massive new mandates, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going to kill jobs this time, just like it killed jobs.
I just need to respond very briefly,
15
please.
seconds, and then we'll move on.
Thank you. Joe Biden
See, I
is
told you, she's like, hold on
responsible
one
for
second, I got
saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about China. We have as our next topic. We have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China. It is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries, enemies? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to close. We saw automotive jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. The American people deserve to know that. It's probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019, more liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So now, with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China, President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China. And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it was xenophobic.
Vice President Pence.
But President Trump has stood up to China. We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field, and we're going to hold China accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Oh, I was just talking. My mic was
Susan,
unmuted.
the Trump
She said thank you, and he stopped talking, which was a first. Secondly, why does she have a straw in her fucking glass?
Lives, American jobs, and America's standing. There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics.
Oh, yeah?
They got away, they got rid of it.
Not true.
There was a team of disease experts.
Wait, what the fuck?
That President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before the trade deal, the trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a manufacturing recession, and the American consumer paying thousands of dollars more for goods because of that failed war that they called it. Then let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. This is where we are today.
Why do you want to be friends with the communists?
Because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
Senator Harris, we've seen changes in the role of the United States in terms of global leadership over the past 4 years. And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the Vice President mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, you know, Joe is, I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues. And, you know, Joe,
she didn't ask about Joe. She asked, what's your opinion in American leadership in 2020?
Complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships. And so we know this in our personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends. Got to be loyal to your friends. People who've stood with you, got to stand with them. You got to know who your adversaries are and keep them in check. But what
keep him in check, bro. Yeah, yo, keep that boy in check, bro.
That he has betrayed our friends and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia.
What about it?
So, Russia. I serve on the Intelligence Committee of the United States Senate.
Okay.
America's intelligence community told us Russia interfered in the election of the President of the United States in 2016 and is playing in 2020. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, said the same. But Donald Trump, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community. You look at our friends at NATO.
She just broke my trust, bro.
Walked away from agreements.
She literally just
the Iran nuclear deal,
she just said that
which now
the presidency was from Russia in 2016.
Because they are building up
when last week,
what might end
I think it was last week or 2 weeks. Yeah, I think it was last week.
Arsenal.
The director of investigation or something like that. It was the director of investigation, director of international something.
Donald Trump's unilateral approach
Radcliffe.
to foreign policy.
I think it's David Radcliffe.
Coupled with his isolationism.
I think that was his name.
He pulled us.
I have it on my phone. I have it on my phone. David Radcliffe. Let me go fucking check. I'll tell you the name of everything.
That has always been part of the
but he released documents that literally stated in 2016 the fucking
because he doesn't understand.
The Russia interference with the election was fake. It was false. It wasn't true. The only reason why it came up was because Hillary Clinton made it up, told the American people. They were like, oh my gosh, it happened. And they all believed it so that
When Joe Biden was
nobody
vice president,
would
they promised to do that, and they never
look
did.
at her emails. That's the
We
reason
stood
why she brought it
strong
up.
with our allies, but we've been demanding.
So it's false.
NATO is now
I literally have the
contributing more to
document
our
right here on my
common defense
phone.
than ever before, thanks to President Trump's leadership.
The
We've strengthened
Director
our
of
alliances across
National
the
Intelligence,
Pacific, and we've stood strong
respectfully,
against those who would do us
John
harm.
Ratcliffe, not David
You know, when
Ratcliffe.
President Trump came
John
into
Ratcliffe, that's
office,
his signature right there.
ISIS
That's
had
that.
captured
It's
an
the
area
document right here.
of the Middle East the size of
It says FBI Director James Comey,
President
Deputy
Trump
Assistant Director of
unleashed the
Counterintelligence,
American military.
regarding U.S.
And our
presidential
armed
candidate Hillary
forces
Clinton's
destroyed the
approval of
ISIS
a
caliphate
plan
and took out
concerning
their leader,
U.S. presidential
al-Baghdadi,
candidate
without
Donald
one
Trump and the Russian
American
hackers
casualty.
hampering U.S.
Al-Baghdadi
elections
was,
as means of distracting the public from her
for the
use
death
of
of
private email
thousands.
server on September 7th,
But notably,
2016.
America's hearts today are with the family of
I
Kayla
have
Mueller,
the information right
the
here.
parents of which
What she
are
said
here
was
with us tonight
false.
in Salt Lake City.
And now I can't trust her, bro.
Today,
She just lied on
Two
TV.
of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to
And
justice
earlier,
in the
when she
United
said her
States.
5 facts,
Jihadi
only
John
3
was
of
killed
them
on the
were
battlefield
actually
along
true.
with
The
the
other 2 were
leader.
just, I guess,
reality
like,
is
just
that
like she just either
when Joe
made it
Biden
up
was
right
vice
there
president, we
or
had an opportunity
gave an
to save Kayla
exaggeration.
Mueller.
Not too sure if they're
Breaks
actually
my heart to
true.
reflect on it, but the military
But I know the
community
3 of
over
them, the first 3 were
presented a
actually true.
plan.
The workers
Said
and
they
all
knew what
that
Kayla
was, I don't know. I'm
Baghdadi
not
had
sure
held
if
her
that was
for
actually
18
true.
months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a
Oh,
month.
what's up, Salute? Thanks for
When
joining in.
armed
Hope you enjoyed it.
forces
Thanks for
finally
coming
went
by.
in, it was clear she'd been moved 2
Hello.
days earlier. And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look, we
President.
destroyed the ISIS caliphate.
I'm a little off
and
right
we
now
talk about
of what's
re-entering
happening.
The Iran nuclear
I was
deal.
speaking
the
so
last
much on
administration
that
transferred $1.8
that fake
billion to the
that
leading
false statement
state
that I don't know
sponsor
Thank
what
you, Vice
he's
of
explaining.
terrorism. President Donald Trump got us out of the deal.
Thank you, Vice President.
And,
But look,
and when Qasem
she says
Soleimani
thank
was
you, thank you,
traveling
thank you. He just
to
keeps
Baghdad
talking.
Thank you,
to do
Vice President
harm
Pence.
to Americans. President Donald Trump took
Thank you,
him
Vice
out.
President Pence.
And
See,
America
that-
is safer.
I like how many times
Our
she says
allies
thank you.
Are safer, and the American people know President Donald Trump will never
Thank you,
hesitate
Vice President
to take
Pence.
action.
I would like to give Senator Harris a chance to respond, but not at such great length because, of course, there are other topics we want to talk about.
But I would like equal time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Don't say how much
First of all,
time she
to
says
the
thank you to
Mueller
her.
family, I know about your daughter's case, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What happened to her is awful, and it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way.
Ex-president, because
But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there.
I think people should just refer him as Barack Obama because he's not.
After the strike
the
on
president
Soleimani, there was
anymore.
a counter strike on our troops in Iraq. And they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred to our men who are serving in our military as suckers and losers. Donald Trump, who went to Arlington Cemetery and stood above the graves of our fallen heroes and said, what's in it for them? Because, of course, you know, he only thinks about what's in it for him.
What?
Let's take what he said about John
Good night, Johnny. I'll
McCain,
catch you later, man. Have a great night.
a great
Enjoy school
American
tomorrow.
hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who is the current commander-in-chief and what they care about and what they don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And you know what a bounty is?
Yeah.
It's somebody puts a price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump had talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Thank
Joe
you.
Biden would, but Joe Biden
See?
would
That's
hold
one.
Russia to account for any threat to our nation's security or to our troops who are sacrificing their lives for the sake of our democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an important issue, but we have other important issues as well. And I
Susan,
want
But
to make sure we have a
thing
chance
is,
I
though,
really have
talk
to
about.
respond to that.
is
Look,
that
She has
15 seconds because
Trump
Well, I gotta
is
have more than
taking
that. Look,
Well, you-
the
I'm
soldiers
sorry,
out of
Vice
Iraq,
President Pence,
Look,
you've had more time
and
than she's
Biden
had so
signed
far.
a
slanders against President
document
Donald
that
Trump
put them there in the first place.
regarding men and women of our
Okay.
armed forces are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My
President
son is
Pence.
a captain in the United
Yes.
States
That was 15
Marine
seconds,
Corps.
bro. That was
My
like 6
son-in-law is
seconds.
deployed in the United States Navy.
Oh, she's getting uneasy,
I
bro.
can
You can
assure
see
all
her
of you,
moving her little binder.
the
She's like,
sons and daughters serving in our military. President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous. Let
Thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say,
President Pence.
the
Vice President
American
Pence,
people
you know,
deserve, Susan,
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
I
deserve to
didn't,
know.
Vice President
that-
Pence, I did not,
the
excuse me,
Susan, the
I
American
did not
people
create
deserve
the
to know
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden
Your
and
campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you,
Go right
which is what I'm trying very hard to do.
Go right ahead.
So I want to go ahead and move to the next topic, which is an important one, as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court.
okay.
On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator
That
Harris,
shit's funny as hell.
you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling.
Okay.
Access to abortion would then be up to the states. Vice President Pence, you're the former governor of Indiana. If Roe v.
Oh, wow.
Wade is
Okay.
overturned,
I didn't know that.
what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. The American people deserve to know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate. And Qasem Soleimani.
And we
was
bombed
gone.
his bitch ass.
But you deserve to know that
After
Joe
we
Biden
warned him, I think it was like
and
4 or
Kamala
5
Harris
times.
actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani.
And after the 5th warning, we were like, all right,
It's
fuck
really
this bitch.
inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely essential that we have a commander-in-chief who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have in President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Now, she's a brilliant woman, and she will bring a lifetime of experience and a sizable American family to the Supreme Court of the United States. And our hope is, in the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others, we hope she gets a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. I mean, the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith lived loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views and
Thank you.
pro-marriage views.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
So
Your
my
time
hope
is
is
up.
that when the hearing takes place,
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
Thank
to the
you.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris, you're the senator from and former
was
Attorney
5
General
times.
of California. So let me ask you a parallel question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan.
Oh,
First of
shit, I
all,
just realized that
Joe
Pence didn't
Biden
even
and I
answer
are
the
both
question.
People of faith, and it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as president of the United States. On the issue of this nomination, Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your point, Susan, the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the
Well, it's not their
the
decision
court.
either.
It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of a public health pandemic, when over 210,000 people have died and 7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act.
You said it twice already. You said it
And
before.
it bears repeating. This means that there will be no more protections, if they win, for people with pre-existing conditions. This means that over 20 million people will lose your coverage. It means that if you're
Currently,
under the age of 26,
but
you can't stay on
Pence
your parents' coverage
said
anymore.
that him and Trump are
And
working
here's
on a
the
deal to
thing.
protect
The
pre-existing
contrast
conditions
couldn't be more
and
clear.
better
They're
health
trying to get
care.
rid of the Affordable Care
We have
Act.
yet to see that
Joe
bill.
Biden is
We
saying,
have yet to
let's
see
expand
that
coverage.
happen.
Let's give you a choice of a
But we still
public
have to
option
wait
or
for
private
them to
coverage.
release that
Let's
document,
bring
and then
down
we'll
premium
compare
Thank you, Senator
Let's
Harris.
lower Medicare
for this
eligibility to
Green New
60.
Deal
Thank you,
or
Senator.
That's true
Affordable Care
leadership.
Act versus what
you mentioned
the Trump administration,
earlier,
their
Vice President
documents are.
Pence, that the president was
And then we'll
committed
see which ones
to maintaining
outweigh one or
protections
the
for people
other,
with
or better
pre-existing
or
conditions.
worse.
But you do have this court case that you are supporting, your administration supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act. The president says, President Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has
I
not
agree,
explained
I mean, she said
how he would do
I think
that.
she said
And
like
that
the
was one
same
of the
exact
toughest
sentence
nuts
she
to
just
crack
said
when they were passing the
an
Affordable
hour
Care
ago,
Act. So
maybe
tell
about
us
an hour
specifically,
ago.
how would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions to have
But
access
when
to
they were having
affordable
that
insurance
argument,
if the
she brought up the Affordable Care
is
Act,
struck
and
down?
he literally said right
Well,
afterwards that
thank you, Susan.
they were
But
coming out with a
let me
bill
just say,
that's better
addressing your
health
very
care
first question.
and will protect pre-existing conditions. And she
I
just
couldn't
said
be
the
more
same thing
proud
as
to
she
serve as
did
Vice President for a
earlier,
president who
which
stands
they
without
won't,
apology
but
for the
he
sanctity
even
of
said they
life.
will. And like I said, we still have to see the
I'm
document
pro-life.
to prove that they
I
will.
don't apologize for it.
So we just have to see
And this is
what
another one of those cases where there's such a
will
dramatic
happen, actually.
contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood of America. Now, for our part, I would never presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court,
The
though,
right
I
to
think
life.
the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question.
Oh,
so I think
now
the
he's coming
American people
hard.
would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864...
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
No, Mr.
Yes,
Vice President, I'm
please,
speaking.
very
I'm
fast.
speaking. Okay. In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly
Okay.
the president,
Yes,
I
I know.
assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election.
Uh-huh.
And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime
I gotta
on the
search this
highest
now, bro.
court of our land. And
'Cause I
so
never heard
Joe and
about
I
this.
are very clear The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you,
And the
Senator
American
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once
Come
again
on.
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
The
now.
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and
Mr.
women,
Vice President,
I got to
I
tell you,
think
people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court,
I didn't find it. I don't know what
separation of
I don't know
powers, you need to
exactly what she was
reject
talking about, but
the
I didn't-
Biden-Harris ticket.
never
Come
heard of
November
that.
the 3rd, re-elect
That's why
President
I
Donald
tried to
Trump,
search
and we'll
that.
stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you.
talk about packing the court then. Let's
Okay.
talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to. So
She takes that long
the
pause after
Trump
she says
Pence
something.
administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
All right, thank you.
I
Thank
don't
you,
think it has
Senator.
anything
Let's
to do
go
with
on
the
and
race.
talk
It just
about
has to
the
do
issue
with the
of
skill
racial
or
justice.
gender.
I just want
I mean,
the
it doesn't have to do with
record
race
to
or
reflect she
gender. It
never
just has to do with
answered the question. So the American
knowledge
maybe
and
in the next
skill.
debate, Joe Biden will answer the question.
Thank
But
you,
I think
thank
the
you.
American
Maybe no one
Thank you,
was
Vice
black
President.
or, yellow
In
that
March, Breonna
applied.
Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency room technician in Louisville, was shot and killed after police
head's
officers
disconnected. Hold
executing
on,
a
I can't hear
search
them.
warrant in a narcotics investigation broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's
It's
boyfriend
back.
said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then fired more than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting in self-defense. None of them have been indicted in connection with her death. Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so. And I've talked with Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family. And her family deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street so she could then
Yeah, that
become a
Breonna
nurse
Taylor
and
case
save
is a
lives.
little,
And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently.
it's a little hard to
And it just it
justify.
brings me to, the
So I
8
can't really
minutes and
take
46 seconds
sides
that America
until more
witnessed,
information comes out.
during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed police officer.
He died from
And people
Overdose
around
of
our
fentanyl.
country, of every
First.
race, of every age, of every gender, perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, fighting for us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those peaceful protests. And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to achieve our ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about. Bad cops are bad for good cops. We need reform of our policing in America and our criminal
Bad
justice
cops are
system,
bad
which is
for
why
good
Joe and
cops.
I will immediately ban
Okay,
chokeholds
I
and
understand
carotid
now.
holds. George Floyd would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for
probably
police
not. I
officers
don't
who
know.
break the law.
Maybe.
We will, on the issue
Maybe
of
not.
criminal justice reform,
Uh,
get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and
Thank
we
you.
will decriminalize marijuana, and
Thank
we
you,
will
Senator Harris.
we will expunge the records of those who have
Thank you,
been
Senator
convicted
Harris.
of marijuana. This is
Thank
a
you,
time
Senator
for
Harris.
leadership on a tragic issue
Senator Harris,
of
your time is
unarmed
up.
black people in America who have
Thank
been
you, Senator
killed.
Harris. Vice President Pence.
Oh, damn,
she
she got more times than Pence. That's just crazy.
In the case of Breonna Taylor,
she says thank you 6 times.
Done? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Well, our heart breaks for the loss of any innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies. But I trust our justice system, a grand jury that refused the evidence. And it really is remarkable that as a former prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But you're entitled to your opinion, Senator. I think, look, and with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. And justice will be served. But there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed. I mean, it really is astonishing. Flora Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City. Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be
I mean, yeah, I agree that the cop shouldn't put his knee on his neck
by rioters
right here
and looters.
With the carotid arteries to block blood flow to the brain, and also they push down too hard. You see how my voice changes like that? Is because I'm pushing through into my throat, and
from Joe Biden,
if it was heavy enough, it could have stopped the airway.
That America is systemically racist.
But
and that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit
4 times the amount of fentanyl in his body, along with methamphetamine, which I think would have killed him.
Is a great insult
before the cop.
Why? There's
a fly on that nigga's hair, bro.
I want everyone to know who puts on the uniform of law enforcement every day that President Trump and I.
A fly just landed on that boy's hair, bro.
And it is remarkable.
Hey, yo.
That when Senator Tim Scott tried to pass a police reform bill, brought together a group of Republicans and Democrats, Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room. And then you filibustered Senator
Bro, I know she's laughing. I know she's staring at his fucking head right now.
Provided new accountability, new resources. Look, we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement,
fuck that fly, bro,
and supporting our African American
fuck that fly,
all of our minorities. Under President Trump's leadership, we always stand with
that fly is ruining the fucking vibes, bro.
What we've done from day one is improve the lives of African Americans.
Thank you, Vice President.
Record unemployment. Record
Vice
investments in
President Pence,
education, and we'll fight for school choice for all of our members.
Thank you, Vice President.
I'd like to respond.
Senator Harris.
Oh, well, he got 5, bro. She got 6. She got 6. Thank you.
On what it means to enforce the laws of our country.
I hope he goes like this or something.
Who was personally prosecuted.
I want to see if that fly is still there.
Yo,
that fly's still there, bro. You can see it in the mirror, bro. That fly is just fucking chilling on his head, bro.
For taking advantage of America's
homeowners. That thing's gonna fucking land a nest in his body. He's gonna wake up tomorrow with fucking baby flies in his hair.
Advantage of our veterans.
That boy needs to use shampoo tonight.
And the reality of this is that we are talking about an election in 27 days.
Use some shampoo and conditioner to get that fly egg out.
The President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
not true.
It wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And this is a part of a pattern of Donald Trump's. He was called Mexicans,
the fly's going.
Rapists and criminals. He instituted as his first act a Muslim ban. He, on the issue of Charlottesville, where people were
the presidential fly has made an escape.
The need for racial justice, where a young woman was killed, and on the other side there were neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches, shouting racial epithets, anti-Semitic slurs, and Donald Trump, when asked about it, said there were fine people on both sides.
No,
this is who we have
that's
as the
false.
President
He
of
said
the
it
United
about
States.
the
In America,
University
you deserve
of
better. Joe
Utah,
Biden
I believe
will be
it
a
was.
president who brings our country
Not about the
together
Charlottesville incident.
and recognizes the beauty in our diversity and the fact that
Senator
we all
Harris,
have so much more in common than what separates us.
Vice President Pence, let me give you
she
a
brought
minute
that out of
to
context.
respond.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that very much. You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently omitted, after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments, he condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly. You're concerned that he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes.
He actually said that 3 years ago. He said neo-Nazis, white supremacists.
Thank you.
We should condemn them. I actually have a video
when you were
of it.
when you were DA in San Francisco, when you left office,
fuck, I can't remember the date. I think it was like September 9th of
19 times more likely to be
17
prosecuted
or 16.
for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics.
I
When
can't
you were
remember. He was in a
Attorney
room
General
when
of
he said it.
California,
Thank you,
you
Vice President.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank
blacks
you.
in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to
you.
pass the First Step Act on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record
Thank
speaks
you,
for
Vice
itself.
President
President
Pence.
Trump and I have fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice President
We fought for
Pence.
educational choice and opportunities
Don't do
for
it. Don't do it, bro.
African-Americans, all of our
Thank you,
minorities.
sir.
And we'll do
Bro.
it for 4
Thank you.
minutes.
You know, there's
Oh,
no
he got
more
7.
important issue.
Oh,
the final issue.
he
that
got
we're gonna
7.
talk
He
about
has the new
tonight, and that is
fucking.
the issue of
He has
the
a new
election.
record of thank yous
So,
before he needs to
attacked my
get
record. I
stopped.
would like an opportunity to
Unless
Let me give you 30 seconds
I
because
counted wrong.
because we're running
He
out
has
of
7.
time.
I appreciate that. First of all, having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation needs to do, and we will be able to do under a Joe Biden presidency. Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holes.
Thank you.
Not only,
Thank you, Senator
I
Harris.
would like to go through.
These are points that you made earlier in the hour, and I want to talk about the election itself before we have to.
But I want to talk about the connection between what Joe and I will do and my record, which includes I was the first statewide officer to institute a requirement that my agents would wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We were the first to initiate a requirement that there would be a training for law enforcement on implicit bias because, yes, Joe Biden and I recognize that implicit bias does exist, Mr. Vice President, contrary to what you may believe.
I mean, everything
we did
exists.
the work of instituting reforms that were about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured.
The fuck is that in the background?
Vice
Someone coughing, or is that a fucking puppy?
On our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities safe and a commitment
Yo,
to
I want that
reforming
camera
criminal
back
justice
on
system
her,
of
bro.
America.
The one that
Thank you,
just
Senator
happened.
Harris, and I'd like to pose
There's a
the
big ass
first-
straw
I'd
in
like you to
her
respond
water
first to the
glass behind her.
question on our
What?
final
The straw's
topic,
like
the
the
election
cup's
itself.
like this tall, and the
President
straw's
Trump
like
has
this
several
long.
times refused to
I don't
commit
understand.
himself
Look, do you see
to a
it?
peaceful
Why is that
transfer
straw
of
so
power
fucking
after
long?
the election. If your
Does she
ticket
need a
wins
fucking
and
13-inch
President Trump
straw to
refuses
drink from a
accept
5-inch
a
cup?
peaceful transfer of power, what
Maybe
steps
4?
would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are, I think, particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of folks that you've
You hear
ever
that?
seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans. In fact, 7 members of President George W. Bush's cabinet are supporting our ticket.
And congratulations.
We have the support of Colin Powell, Cindy McCain, John Kasich, over 500 generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and advisors are supporting our campaign. And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden has a deep, deep-seated commitment to fight for our democracy and to fight for the integrity of our democracy and to bring integrity back to the White House. And so we believe in the American people. We believe in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody. Vote. Please vote. Vote early. Come up with a plan to vote. Go to iwillvote.com. You can also go to joebiden.com. We have it within our power in these next 27 days to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years.
Shit,
And it
you
is
hear that in the
within our
background, though?
power, and if we use our
It's
vote,
like,
and we use our votes,
like,
we
hello?
will win.
Some
And we
noise.
will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate
They
stage
said everybody got
last week,
tested in there. Sure,
when
somebody got
again
the
in front
Rona,
of
bro.
70
Coughing the
million
fucking
people,
back in the lung out there.
he openly attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate
Bro, when
stage,
she said
because
that, he
clearly
was
Donald
like,
Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record.
this bitch, bro.
Joe Biden on that stage said, hey, just please vote. So I'll repeat
Yo,
what
I
Joe
don't
said.
agree with her,
Please
but
vote.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Pence, President Trump has several times refused to commit
she's
himself
kind of gorgeous,
to a
dog.
peaceful transfer of power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility as Vice President? What would you personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Susan, first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election. Because while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years, President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military, we revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing American energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level.
That's what I like. I
we
like
stood
when
with the
he
men and women of
states
law
things that they
enforcement every
do
single day. And I think
instead of
that
going
movement
after
of
the other party.
Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years. But when you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States,
She goes,
the FBI actually spied
oh
on
yeah, you did?
President Trump and my campaign.
Sounds
There were
good, Slew.
documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So let me just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are
Does anybody
fighting
know
every
how
day in
old Mike
courthouses
Pence
to
is?
prevent Joe
I'll
Biden and
probably search
Kamala
it up
Harris
right
from
now.
changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in voting.
'Cause he looks like
creating
he's like
massive
60.
opportunity for voter fraud. And we have a free and fair election. We know
That
we're
boy
gonna have
fucking
confidence in
buff,
it,
dog.
and I believe in all
I
my
think
heart
he
that
works
President
out,
Donald
dog.
Trump's gonna be
No
reelected
cap,
for
bro.
4
You
more
guys,
You
I don't know if you saw him when he walked into the room
I've
earlier.
written all
He
the
was
questions
like,
I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate, I'd like to
damn.
read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah debate
He's
commission
61.
asked students in the
But that boy's
state
big.
to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are two candidates from opposing parties
I
trying to
can't
tear
disagree,
each other
Slew.
down.
Can't
If
disagree.
our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get along?" And then she added, "Your examples could make all the difference to bring us together," end quote. So to each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond to Brecklin. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question. And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following the news when I was very young. And in America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that. And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. I would tell you that
I'm not sure if freest is a word,
don't
but
assume that what you're seeing
I'll just keep
on your local
I'll just let it go.
news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the two of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. And the American people each and every day love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there for one another.
Thank you,
in times of need. And we've especially learned that.
Where's the cameras at? How the fuck do they know what they're staring at? It's like
Senator Harris,
the moderator
what would you say
and then just fucking pitch black behind her.
First of all,
How do they know where the cameras are, bro?
I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be. That is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle and working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering,
Everybody
and he has known love.
Everybody has.
And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote
Thank you,
to
Senator
determine
Harris.
the future of our country
Okay.
and what its leadership looks like.
Pence states that
Thank you,
everybody, all
Senator
Americans, should be
Harris. Thank
treated
you,
equally
Vice
no
President
matter
Pence.
what
Thank you so
political
much for
views,
being
and she
with us
just wants to
tonight.
continue talking
We want to
about
thank
voting
also
for Joe
the
Biden.
University of Utah for its hospitality.
Okay.
And most of all, our thanks to all the Americans who watched this debate tonight.
You're welcome.
Again, our best wishes for a quick recovery to President Trump, the First Lady, and everyone who is battling COVID-19.
I thought he recovered
The second
already.
presidential
back at the White
debate
House.
is next week on October 15th, a
I'm
town
gonna
hall
be
style
there.
debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then.
Yo,
Good evening.
I'm gonna be live again next week. You guys want to come on and hang out with me again? I'm sorry that it's a little low. That's literally how it is. That's why you see me going like this in my headset. I literally have it all the way up right now. And look, listen, this is what you hear. I have it all the way up. I literally hear nothing. It's so low. Yo, look at that boy, bro. Look, I told you, bro. Look how buff that boy is, bro. Hold on, wait till he puts his hand down. Damn! Damn! You can see his fucking chest, bro. That boy big. Look at that boy, bro. He's built. Her husband's standing there like this. Or Kamala's husband's like this, just fucking sitting there like. Pence is like. Look at that big ass boy, dog. That boy fucking fit, bro. Shit. Is that it? Like, is it over? I mean, I know that the debate's over. I mean, like, what's going on now? Are there gonna be like aftermath questions or something? Like last time there was aftermath questions with Hannity and DJT. I want to see if they do aftermath questions with anybody. Damn, that's fucked up. Not even DJT was there to support fucking Pence, bro. Damn, nobody's no, bro. Nobody from the White House supported Pence. Damn, not one person. That's fucked up. Not one person. Alright, well, I guess that's the end of the stream because... Did it end? Did it, like, officially end? Well, let me check. I'm turning my controller.
Is whether it's going to move the needle at all. I mean, if you want to get into, you know,
yo, you're gonna be there.
Kamala
Yo,
Harris
I'll
got
see
off to
you
a little
next
bit of a
week.
slow
Slow,
start, but I
October
thought she
15th,
really
9 p.m. I believe.
got her sea legs, got comfortable, and got
debate
strong.
number 2 between
and look, Mike Pence
Trump
did a lot of evading
and
and deflection.
Biden.
He was
I
dealt
want
a
to see the
tough
aftermath. I
hand,
want to
as
see
we
what
said
else
at
they
the
say.
beginning with the virus and where things are. And look, I think there are some in the Trump campaign who are going to be pleased with how he deflected and how he evaded. But there are going to be some people who are frustrated about the constant amount of time that Mike Pence avoided answering a direct question. Now, there is a direct question issue for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. It is one that they seem to not want to deal with, which is the Supreme Court question about expanding it. But that was one thing that jumped out at me.
It just turns on right in front of you guys, whatever.
Again, it was clear that was Mike Pence's plan. Deflect some of these attacks. Don't get bogged down in the details. But I wonder if the evasion
I thought I was watching Fox,
started to
fuck?
wear thin with some viewers.
Yo,
I'm going to go to Andrea Mitchell. I know you were feverishly taking notes through all of this. What stood out to you, Andrea?
Oh, that's why. I was like, bitch, I was watching Fox, and NBC News comes up. I'm like, wait. What's happening? But no, Fox ended it. I guess there's no aftermath. Oh, eat that pussy 445 says something, bro. Wait, I want to see what you said.
Hello there. My name is Bryant Moreland, aka EDP 445.
That's my boy. EDP 445. I don't want to watch the whole video because I'll make it copyright striked or claimed or whatever. I'll watch that later, but he's funny. You guys should watch him. But yeah, I guess there's no aftermath. I thought they would do like aftermath, you know. Damn, baby girl looking sexy. Oh, baby girl. Oh, fuck, baby girl. Anyway, I will catch you. You gotta go. Sounds good. Nightation. Have a great night. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next week, or not next week. Saturday night, maybe Saturday night or Sunday for Time to Game number 145. Like I said, there's no aftermath, so I'm assuming that that's it. So yeah, that was the vice presidential debate. Oh, yo, it's me, bro. It's me. But yeah, that was vice presidential debate. My thoughts so far were, they were both using tactics where they stared the screen and were talking to us. I didn't want them talking with me about what points they were making. The moderator asked them a question, answer to the moderator, or since you're debating somebody else, debate, you know, between each other, not to me. I don't know why you're looking at me while answering their question, but you know, they both did that, so I can't really say it was, but it was more Kamala. She did say, like, look at the camera a lot more than Pence did, but either way, they both looked at the camera a few times. Well, Mike did it a few times, and I said, I caught him doing it many times, but she did it a lot more often. I don't like that tactic where you try to, it's mob rule. That's a mob rule tactic where you're like, yeah, you explain to somebody, you're talking to somebody, then you look at the person or you look at a crowd and be like, bro, don't you guys think like this is supposed to be right? Like, this is what's going down. Like, mob rule tactic, you should get that out the way when debating. Just like Biden was doing that last week, and then Trump was using the aggressive tactic where he would talk over Biden to get his point across because Biden would stop talking. They just use these tactics, from what I've noticed. There was a few times I've caught Kamala in a lie, that blatant lie. Like, she knows that it was a lie. Yes, she said it live on TV, straight up. I don't know. There could have been a few things that Pence said that was a lie, but not that I caught him in. Because I agreed with him. Because many things that he stated were true, and many things that he stated were just his opinion or bias, which I agreed with. But I remember the first, I think it was 15 or 20 minutes, she said 5 facts, and 3 of them were actually true. The other 2 I wasn't too sure about. And then the one with Clinton and the Russian hackers was false. That's a fact check. She said, if you want to know the facts, and then she lied. That's not... What? How you can say the facts and then just tell a complete lie? It doesn't make sense to me. Damn, it's all over. All you see is her. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in a row. It's just her. I don't remember when she said, I'm not taking it. That could have been when I went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom twice because literally like for like a whole hour, I could only breathe out my left side. You saw me go like this a lot? Because when I do that, I can only breathe out my left side because, you know, my nose is fucked up. Always has been my whole life. I got my surgery. Supposed to work. I mean, I breathe a lot more often than I should, but it's always around this time of night where it just like completely moves to the left side. I can't breathe out my right side. I can't breathe. So if you saw me going like this a lot or going like this, it's because I was trying to open my nose so I can breathe. So that's why I went to the bathroom, washed my face. It helped. It helped. It like fucking opened up like 30 minutes ago. But anyway, back to this. It was a much better debate than last week. Last week was a lot of screaming and yelling and name calling and between both of them. But it was more Joe Biden when he said like clown and shut up man and then Trump was just like not calling, I don't think Trump called him names, but he like made fun of him and said like all these and was like, so I think he said something about Joe being in the basement or something like that. Things like that. Like they're just going back at it like each other like it was a playground. But if there was a winner, it would have to be Trump because he used the aggressive tactic. He did get his points across. He was talking in complete sentences, was not cut off by neither the moderator or Biden at the same time. So I think he won that. And then on this one, I mean, I would have to go for Pence. He did state, you know, facts that I knew were facts that I've also fact checked, and there was a few things that she said that was factual, but few that were blatant lies that I knew about. So again, I don't know if Pence said anything that was incorrect or inaccurate. I need to fact check that if I ever hear about it later on in the news, because you know tomorrow ABC, NBC, whatever is gonna be like, Pence said this. This is not facts, and then I fact check it and it's true. Then it's like, what the fuck? But yeah. So that was the VP debate. See you guys next week, October 15th, the second presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. October 15th, 9 p.m. I will see you guys here next week. Last week was actually basically moderator and Biden versus Trump, so he had to be aggressive. I agree with that, Danger. I agree with that because, yeah, I just agree with that. I think the moderator was trying to be on both sides, but because he was more liberal than conservative, that the moderator was giving Biden a little bit more. I don't know if he was giving more time or more like a look like, look, I want it to be equal, but I'm on your side, just so you know, like that type. But tonight was a lot better, The moderator was equal on both sides. Even if she is more liberal or more conservative, she was equal on both sides. She did the job well. I'm not too sure if as a moderator you're supposed to shut them down after a certain amount of time, because she did have to say thank you to both of them multiple times. Unfortunately, my boy Pence got the most thank yous, which was 7, which was the newest record, but he was also the last one to get it, which is unfortunate. I thought she was going to get it because he had 5, then she got 6, and then he got 7 at the last minute. Got the record for the most thank yous, but it had to happen. But does anybody want to give me their opinions of the debate? What you guys thought about it before I head out? And while I let you guys type out your opinions or what you thought about it, I'm gonna go ahead and see what else is happening around. I already slid in her DMs, bro. I slid in her DMs like fucking 3 months ago. Baby girl's on the right side. I don't even know who the fuck that is on the left side. But baby girl is on the right side. Alex, I know one day in the future, probably in like 3-5 years from now, I'm gonna be famous, right? If you're single, hit me up, because You're so damn gorgeous. Let's see. The best of Ben Shapiro. There's nothing authentic about Kamala Harris, says Tucker. Whoa. Chris Wallace asked the same question 4 years ago? That's crazy. I watched this video. This is a pretty cool video. I like watching that video right here. See, the thing you can notice 100% between conservatives and Democrats is the amount of facts that they can provide, the amount of knowledge that they can provide. There's a few Democrats that I know that are actually like really good at providing evidence or their opinion or their facts, like very great debaters or argument people, like who can actually provide what they need to know. But there are way more liberals that can't provide their facts or reasonings without throwing a tantrum or throwing a fit or just walking away from the situation without ending it properly, like things like that. From what I've noticed from my side, even in like watching a bunch of different, like this video right here, like I've seen it. You can tell who's conservative, you can tell who's liberal, just by the way they either speak or react or debate or talk or whatever. You know, I've watched a bunch of debates between them, and you just see it. But I'm assuming that no one has any opinions to say or talk about, so I'm gonna end the stream, and that's gonna be it for tonight. If you guys want to come hang out, and I'm not gonna be streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow what? Tomorrow's Thursday night or Friday night. Maybe not Saturday night, but possibly. So for the next 2 nights, I won't be live streaming games, because I'm gonna stay at my dad's house for a little bit, for a couple days. I haven't seen him in a few months, and I just want to stay with him for a couple days. So I might come back Saturday night. If I don't come back Saturday night, I have to be back Sunday night for the Esports League Siege game that we have coming up Sunday night at 6 p.m. So yeah, if you guys want to come hang out with me again, play some games, we'll talk, we'll chat like we did tonight, except probably have a lot more people because it'll probably be on the weekend. It'll be great to see you guys again on Saturday or Sunday, one of those days. Yeah, so thank you all for watching my live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I will catch you guys in my next video or live stream. So like always, stay healthy, stay sexy, and I will see you all in my next live stream or video. Have a great night, and goodbye.